Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series presented by SM Racing Products. Tonight, we are once again up here at the Southern National Motorsports Park in Lucama, North Carolina. This 0.4 mile or 0.64 kilometer long speedway has found itself on the ASRC Oval Series calendar every single season since its inception. And boy, this list of drivers who have taken home checkered flags here is about as varied as it gets. There's only one driver in this list who has taken home the checkered flag here twice in a row, and that would be Mr. Tyler McRae back in season number 8 and season number 9. And currently, we have just as many drivers here in the field that have taken home the checkered flag as there are drivers that have not. And that said, drivers are actually making their way down to the starting grid now, so how about we take a look down there and see how these drivers are lining up here this evening. Starting out on the pole of this one, he is the driver that we just started talking about. That's going to be the number 99 Sim Speed Shop entry of Mr. Tyler McRae. Starting his outside in the number 93, that's going to be League Admin Jason Gardner in the ASRC entry number 93, rolling it off position number 2. Third place going to go back on to the Solid Rock Carriers Race Cars entry. That's going to be the 62 of TJ Henson. Going back to position number 4 in the 85 McConey Setup Shop entry, that is Brian Sabelski, current points leader in the championship right now by only about 30 points. Starting off in row number 3, that's going to be the 27 of Mr. Johnny Bell, the Dirt TV entry for the driver out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. That's going to be John Bell, rolling off position number 5. Finally, rounding out the field here in the number 24, that is going to be the driver making their first appearance this season. Of course, they are a longtime veteran here in the league. That's going to be the 24CZ Robotics entry of Corey Logan. Like I was saying, though, we have just as many drivers in this field who have taken home the checkered flag as we have drivers who have not. Tyler McRae, Jason Gardner, and Brian Sabelski, your top 3 drivers in qualifying, have all taken home wins at this speedway. Corey Logan, Johnny Bell, and TJ Henson all have not quite yet. But who knows? It's a 50-50 chance here this evening. It could be anyone's game here tonight at this 0.4 mile long speedway. And you can see those high banks there. That's a little bit higher than we traditionally see at these short tracks, and that transition between the high banks and the aprons, especially coming out of the corner, has proven time and time again its ability to trip up even the experienced drivers here in the ASRC Oval Series. So really, it could be anyone's game here this evening. That said, lights are out on the iRacing.com pace car. We're already ready to get this thing rolling, so why don't we get 100 laps up on the scoreboard for tonight's event? Green flag up in the air. Let's see what these drivers have to throw at each other here this evening. Side by side down into turn number 1, but rather unsurprisingly, Tyler McRae makes it happen going through the corner, as Jason Gardner actually gets a little bit loose on corner entry and on corner exit there in that number 93. The outside line, generally not the place you want to be starting on these short tracks, but Jason's having a lot of trouble keeping that car underneath him. Something is handling in that car. Maybe not quite the way he wants it to, but regardless, he's keeping it pointed in the right direction just like that, falling down to the 3rd position as TJ Henson gets around him. And now drivers starting to settle it out into a single file formation, try and get into a little bit of a rhythm here. We've got a whole lot of racing left to go. Only 4 laps in the book so far. Mind you, though, these drivers are setting sub 15-second lap times. If we get a green flag run, this race will be gone in Alrighty, race fans, welcome back. As fate would have it, our microphone has decided to stop working in the middle of the broadcast. Fortunately, the folks over at the broadcast studio are nice enough to keep a spare in the closet. So 36 laps in the books right now, and currently the only pass that's happened on the speedway was between Jason Gardner and TJ Henson all the way down on lap number 1, and back around lap 21 TJ Henson lost that back again to Jason Gardner, who is back up in position number 2. Now everyone finds themselves running exactly as they were when they qualified for tonight's event. 6 drivers in the field, 3 of them have taken home wins at this speedway in the past. Tyler McRae, Jason Gardner, and Brian Sabelski, all winners at this speedway at some point throughout the ASRC Oval Series history. Though our current race leader of Tyler McRae is the only driver who's managed to make it happen multiple times in a row. Of course, those were all back in the old Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS, the late model that has since been retired from the iRacing.com platform. But McRae is proving that he knows how to wheel any short track car around this 0.4 mile speedway. Just behind him, though, Jason Gardner took the win back in season number 6. He did that in a Tour modified, a very different handling beast than the car the drivers are working with here this evening, but still holding on to position number 2, about 7, call it now about 8/10 of a second back from our race leader. Depending on how the pit strategy plays out, Gardner could very possibly close that gap to McRae. Of course, 42 laps in the books, 100 laps is the distance. We are clicking these laps away at about 14.5-second intervals. Fastest lap set so far this race was a 14.53 by the man back in position number 2, Mr. Jason Gardner was the driver who set that fast lap down, and he set that down back around lap number 5. Last time by, though, it's actually late for them to cross the line, get some updated lap times here. Last time by, Jason Gardner about 0.05 of a second off the pace behind Tyler McRae. TJ Henson another 5 off of Jason Gardner, so very similar lap times through our top 3, and actually Brian Sabelski also in that range, a 15.09. So all the drivers in your top 4 positions right now are setting incredibly similar lap times to each other right now. That's going to be Johnny Bell and Corey Logan back in 5th and 6th. The 2 of them are setting lap times about a 10th slower than the top 4 right now. Currently all 6 drivers running in the positions where they qualified, so really the big question here tonight is going to be who manages to make the pit cycle work here this evening, because even with these short 14-second lap times, these drivers are still going to need to pit at some point in tonight's event. Somehow, though, I have the feeling that tires might actually not be on the menu here this evening. These drivers really aren't burning through these Hoosier tires that quickly in a matter of just 114-second intervals. This isn't the shortest track on the schedule that we are going to, but these high banks allow it to be the fastest track that these drivers go to in terms of race distance in time. Because mind you, we just crossed the lap 51, so we are now halfway through tonight's event, and only 12 minutes have elapsed. And right now this race is looking like it is all set to stay green here as Tyler McRae catches up to some lap traffic. That is the 24CZ Robotics entry of Corey Logan, and right in front of them is going to be Johnny Bell in the 27. Corey Logan pulled it up high. He wants nothing to do with our race leader. And speaking of drivers not wanting anything to do with each other, looks like TJ Henson is going to be the first driver to make the call to come down pit lane. She has decided, you know what, we are past the halfway point. That's about good enough for me. And despite what I just said, it looks like tires are going to be the call for TJ Henson. She is going to be taking right side tires here. That will be putting her at least one lap down, and if she can't get out of the pits fast enough, might be 2 laps, because Tyler McRae is going to be catching up to her really darn quickly now. You can see him about half away, straight away back from TJ Henson. But if she can keep these tires lasting for the remaining 44 laps of this race, she could make it happen here entirely from short pitting the rest of the field. Because like I said, tire wear shouldn't be too big of a deal here tonight. So those new tires shouldn't be that much worse off than the rest of the drivers in the field after they come down and do their pit stops. Of course, that is provided that the rest of the field actually does take tires under their respective pits. It's entirely possible that we won't see any of these other drivers take tires. So a whole lot of what ifs here in the field tonight. Just a matter of seeing how it all plays out. Currently 59 laps booked. Going to be 60 when we cross the line. And Johnny Bell in that 27 Dirt TV entry, the driver out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, trying his best to hang on and not end up a lap down here. And frankly, if McRae ends up coming down pit lane these next couple laps, it could all play into Johnny Bell's favor. He is the driver that we all know for his rather unorthodox pit strategies. Sometimes they work out in spectacular fashion. Just last week he managed to walk away with the podium at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. In other races, we've seen him finish all the way in the runner-up position just by using an alternate pit strategy from the rest of the field, even though he is running lap times a couple of tenths slower than these top 4 drivers. Right now, all he's waiting for is to hear the word that Tyler McRae has come down pit lane, and then the cards will all start to fall in his favor here tonight. But McRae only has about 0.3 of a second between himself and Bell. If Bell doesn't manage to hold off McRae for much longer, it might not quite work out how he's hoping for here. So 64 laps in the books. The clock is ticking for these late model drivers. If they want to make the pit stops, they probably are going to have to do it pretty dang soon here. Because these final 35 laps, unless a caution flag comes out, they are going to tick off way quicker than you know. And you don't want to get yourself caught out a lap down in these closing 33 laps. That said, everyone's doing really good so far tonight at keeping things clean as TJ Henson gets around Corey Logan, and not quite enough to put herself back up on the lead lap, but she is slowly but surely gaining back up on the rest of the field. The last season at Southern National, we saw multiple caution flags come out, particularly from drivers getting the left front caught on the apron coming out of turn number 4. Looks like drivers have mostly learned from their mistakes last season, because right now everyone's been running really consistent, really fast lap times here this evening. Jason Gardner going to be the next driver to make the call, come down to pit lane. Gardner is also going to be electing to take right side tires. I'm really curious to see if tires make that big of a difference on pit cycle here. As Jason Gardner comes down pit lane, he's actually going to be coming out 2 laps down. Spent a little bit longer on pit lane than he would have liked, and he was only down on pit lane about, looks like about 0.5 of a second longer than TJ Henson, and that was all it took to be the difference between going down 1 lap and going down 2 laps under this pit cycle. That puts him in an incredibly difficult situation here, because unless a caution flag comes out, he might not have much luck being able to make those 2 laps back unless McRae makes a mistake down on pit lane. That is the biggest thing that Gardner can really hope for right now. And speaking of drivers coming down pit lane, Corey Logan's going to be coming down for their pit stop as well. So that leaves just our top 3 runners, Tyler McRae, Brian Zabelski, and Johnny Bell out on the field. to make their pit stops. And mind you, Johnny Bell has won a lap down on pace here. Right now he just needs to hope that he can make that back from his pit strategy. If he even elects to pit, we have seen Johnny Bell save enough fuel to go a zero-stop race at some of these shorter tracks like this one. And with 75 laps in the books, 25 laps left to go. If Johnny can hold on, maybe do a little bit of lifting and coasting through the corners, he might just be able to make it work here tonight. So actually take a moment, let's ride on board with that number 27 machine, see if we can't get a little bit of sound from the onboard camera here. Well, it doesn't sound like Johnny is too worried about his fuel consumption right now. We don't hear that traditional lifting and clutching, or sometimes even turning the ignition off and on. We've seen drivers do sometimes when they're really trying to save fuel, but we're not getting any of that out of Johnny Bell here. Whatever he gets going, he seems to be pretty confident in it, at least for the time being. Of course, we still do have 22 laps left to go around this 0.4 mile speedway, and in that time something could go wrong for the driver of that number 27 machine, but right now it seems like things are working how he is hoping for them to. Right now though, Tyler McRae continues to lead the field with a 6-second lead over that 85 of Brian Sabelski. McRae, Sabelski, and Bell, the three drivers that have still yet to come down pit lane. Corey Logan coming out of pit lane now finding themselves 6 laps down. Something went on under pit lane that wasn't supposed to happen, because they spent almost 50 seconds down on pit lane. That's definitely a lot longer than you need to be down there, and that's also their second pit stop. So I almost wonder if Logan maybe potentially got either a speeding penalty or a pit lane exit violation, and that might have been why they had to come back down pit lane. Regardless, that's pretty much Corey Logan's evening over just like that. With 17 laps left to go, you might as well stay out on the speedway, get that little bit extra seat time to work with, and bring it on with you next week to the Stafford Motor Speedway. 17, now 16 to go as we cross the line. For all intents and purposes, right now it looks really good for the driver of that number 99 machine, the driver out of Chesterfield, Virginia. McRae tied with Brian Sabelski for the most wins this season, currently about 44 points back in the championship standings. A fourth win this evening could be exactly what he needs here tonight to propel himself higher up the championship standings. Of course, he does have Brian Sabelski right behind him, figuratively at least. Sabelski is nearly 7 seconds back, but Sabelski is still in second. That's going to have Sabelski walking away with a pretty nice sum of points in the championship standings as well. Not quite as much of a bonus in the championship as McRae is probably hoping for, but a win is a win. And McRae, of course, is a driver that has tied for most wins in a season several times before, generally with his teammate of Mike Sukup, but unfortunately Mike has not been able to attend here in season number 11 so far. So McRae alone owns the banner for the Dropping Bombs racing team. As we come through the corner though, big double high fives up in the air from the flagman. 10 laps left to go here at the Southern National Motorsports Park, and TJ Henson is catching up to Johnny Bell. Last time by, faster than Tyler McRae. TJ Henson is actually looking like she's going to unlap herself here tonight. I can't entirely say I saw that coming, but sure enough, TJ Henson, just like that, manages to unlap herself. She is back in this thing, as well as Johnny Bell. Tyler McRae has slowed down and is letting all of these lap cars by. I wonder if he needs to come down pit lane and wasn't able to do so last time by because of the lap cars. Not quite. He is electing to stay out here, but with 7 laps left to go, Sabelski has closed the gap from 7 seconds, nearly 8 seconds, down to 4 seconds. Tyler McRae might be having a little bit of a fuel scare here. Up in front of him, though, TJ Henson, John Bell are battling it out for position with 6 laps left to go, battling it out for the final podium spot as they both unlap themselves. That leaves just Jason Gardner and Corey Logan a lap down. Henson, last time by, was a little bit faster than Bell, but only just barely. Big high five up in the air, 5 laps left to go. And TJ Henson is pushing for everything she has to try and get that final podium position, get back up where she qualified, but it's not going to be an easy feat. But it certainly looks like our top 3 drivers are all on the zero stop strategy. I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out for him, because I can definitely see that McRae is slowing down very substantially. Last time by, Tyler McRae was a full second slower than his personal fastest lap of the race. 2 laps left to go here at the Southern National Motorsports Park. 2 laps to decide it all. As long as McRae doesn't run out of fuel in these final 4 corners, he should be good here. It still sounds like he's running strong down the backstretch. White flag up in the air. Tyler McRae going to take home win number 3. Or actually, no, excuse me, this is win number 4 of the season for Tyler McRae. Win number 3 at the Southern National Motorsports Park. And we are not going to get a burnout from McRae. He is immediately going to take the tow down to pit lane. It looks like he may not have enough fuel to actually make it back around. And so Brian Sabelski, Johnny Bell, TJ Henson, Jason Gardner, Corey Logan, all going to pull the rest of their late model stocks down into the infield. Down into pit lane. But Tyler McRae is going to be the driver that gets it done here this evening. Takes home his 3rd win at the Southern National Motorsports Park. 4th win of the season here tonight. Don't go anywhere, race fans. We will be back in just a moment with some words with your top 3 finishers. Alrighty, race fans, welcome back to the Southern National Motorsports Park. Welcome back to the Attrition Sim Race Campus Oval Series presented by SM Racing Products. 100 laps in the books here tonight and 100 laps to Tyler McRae. Tyler, how'd you manage to make it happen here this evening?
Well, I just stuck to my plan. I wanted to start out front and just stay there. And then when I had a little bit of a little bit of space. I started saving on gas a little bit. I thought we could make it the whole way from practice, and it was true. We made it the whole way, and I understand why other guys pitted. I mean, this track is tough on your tires. It's tight, but it's probably I think it's my first track I ever raced at in real life in late model, so it's kind of special to me, and enjoyed racing tonight.
Well, I guess it works out that this track is special to you in the real world because you're also the only driver here in the ASRC Oval Series that has gotten multiple wins at this speedway, and now you've made it three almost in a row, but not quite. But still, that is a pretty big feat here.
I needed some redemption from last week. Poor Jason had a good race and messed up in the pits, and then a couple laps later, I looked at my relative screen and I hit the wall, and I couldn't believe I hit the wall. I couldn't get off of it. When I did, the car was so bad, I knew I had to pit to have any chance of at least finishing. So it was kind of a crazy race last week too.
Well, you managed to come back from it, get a fourth win to your name, and next week, heading on over to the Stafford Motor Speedway. If I remember correctly, that's a track that you're pretty dang good at.
I don't like it though. I don't know. It's just I guess they're running the different grooves in the corners. Um, is odd, but you get into a rhythm and you can get it going pretty good. Um, it's fun tonight running with the guys. I miss everybody else. I know everybody's got something going on, work or hot garages, and can't wait to have everybody back too. But it was a fun race. It was tight for a little bit, very tight in practice and tight in qualifying. So, I mean, really, I ran pretty hard tonight, but I think, 3, 4 people could easily win each week looking at it.
Well, one way or another, a fourth win here this season should move you up above Jason Gardner in the championship standings, bring you that much closer to duking it out with Brian for the championship. But for now, I'll let you start getting ready for next week's race at Stafford. The microphone's all yours, Mr. McRae. Who you want to thank for making it happen tonight?
Every time I want to thank the ASRC League and the guys that put it on and the guys that show up and racing it too. That's what we all come here for, is for fun, race hard, and then hopefully don't fuss at each other at the end of it. And definitely your broadcast, is it S&M products, simspeedshot.com, dropping bombs. I was in the radio with those guys in another race the whole time, and they're pretty funny. So I appreciate them. Somehow I can't get them back yet, but I'm still working on it.
Good deal. Well, thank you for coming out. Congratulations on the win, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Stafford.
I appreciate it. I hope you have a good night.
And finishing back in position number two, Mr. Brian Sabelski. You closed it down from 8 seconds to about 2 over the course of those final 5 laps. Did you think you might have had something to take home the win here tonight?
Yep, I thought I did. I didn't know how hard Tyler was having to save there at the end. I was hoping to have to save a little bit harder. But yeah, there's about 7 or 8 to go. I knew it was good, so I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna hammer it and see how close I can get. Maybe I can get him if he's trying to save real hard at the end. And I think he was, but at the same time, also I think he did a pretty good job throughout saving. Obviously, being out front, he had a little bit of extra space to get that saving in. So props to him for getting to the end on not having to stop. I did it and he did it and it feels good. And also, I think Johnny also got to the end without having to stop. So 3 of us managed to make it work, and that was 1, 2, 3 right there. And overall, it wasn't easy, but yeah, it's one of those things. Probably, if I was a little closer, probably could have had it. But hey, just keep trying to doing the thing where get as many points as I can.
Yeah, I mean, taking home a second place finish here tonight will still keep you up at the top of the championship standings. And next week, heading on over to the Stafford Motor Speedway, do you think that's a track where you can continue to keep this lead going?
Yeah, love Stafford. Great track. I don't know how fuel everything's gonna work out, but it's a good track. I like it. Hopefully, I can do better than I did in ARCA this season there, where I finished second, and want to try and get one step higher up. But it's a good track. Yeah. So hopefully, looking forward to it next time.
Fair enough. I mean, sounds like a good a chance as any to keep this championship going, maybe tie up the wins once again. But for now, I won't keep you all night. The microphone's all yours, Mr. Sabelski. Who you want to thank for making this happen here this evening?
We'll do. Thanks, of course, to ASRC for putting this on, Jason for doing all the admin work. We didn't have to push the caution button tonight, which is always nice. Just be able to focus on driving. Of course, thanks to Maconi Setup Shop, official setup shop of the eNASCAR series, which stealth promo. They're at Pocono tomorrow on the iRacing channel. And also, speaking of Stafford and late models, if you go to MaconiSetupShop.com right now, you can get the Stafford late model for open their setup for free this week. So that is a good chance to check them out and see what they're all about and get a little bit of practice at Stafford. You know, it's a nice coincidence that we're going there next week. Of course, thanks to SM Racing for the wonderful button box that I use to do all of my switch work and button work for pushing admin buttons. That's what I have my my yellow button mapped to in case I ever need to hit it. So it's good to have that at hand and just be able to press the button and have that automatically go out. But yeah, thanks, of course, to you as well, Aiden, for doing the broadcasting, and looking forward to next week.
Good deal. Well, congrats on the podium finish here tonight, and I look forward to seeing you next week.
Will do. Thank you.
And unfortunately, it does not look like we will be able to hear from our third place finisher here tonight, Mr. Johnny Bell. Not his first podium so far this season, but haven't quite been able to get him out here so far in season number 11. That said, though, before we call it an evening here tonight, how about we take a look down at our race results as they currently stand. Of course, McRae, Sabelski, and Bell, your top three finishers here this evening. That's going to be TJ Henson rounding out position number 4. Jason Gardner back in the 5th position. And Corey Logan rounding out 6th here for tonight's event. 100 laps of green flag racing here at the Southern National Motorsports Park. Next week, of course, heading up to Stafford Springs, Connecticut for the Stafford Motor Speedway. 100 laps, same day, same time, Monday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. For now, though,